Howdy everyone, it's me once again, the one and only Killer Rodan. And today, I'm going to be continuing, you guessed it, my Disney movie marathon. So, for this time around, I'll be viewing a CGI animated feature. This one is titled The Incredibles. Yep, this is going to be the one I'll be reviewing today, folks. The first one of the series, I guess you can say. And yes, I know. Before anyone says, I know everybody's going superhero crazy, especially in recent years. There's been a truckload of comic book superhero films. But since this is a Disney related film, I mean Pixar Disney, if you want to be technical about it, I'm going to use that as a way just to continue my Disney stuff. So, of course, as always, let's get into the plot, shall we? We open The Incredibles with I guess you can say in a lot of ways, a flashback to the past, so to speak. Well, there's two characters a lot younger. They're trying to be heroic, of course, trying to save the day. Which, the typical superhero stuff you might expect it to be. So, the typical hero tropes have been played here. But I would complain about this, but they're obviously using it as a way to push for the story. So, it's not something to do with bad writing or anything. So a lot of this is, of course, intentional, just so they can, make sure they can lead to certain things, to certain important moments of the overall plot. So going back in the past, some ways to trying to uphold the law, it just really reminds me of the old 1950s superhero comics, which I thought is actually a pretty nice touch right there, folks. Really referring to that in a lot of ways, so I think that's a good thing, honestly, in my honest opinion. But anyway, to the more important stuff, I guess. We see this little kid who will play a important role later on in the story, and yeah, he wants to help the Mr. Incredible, but of course, eventually Mr. Incredible says no. This really upsets him. Of course, this will be for later, more importantly. But there's one part, Mr. Incredible saves a dude who's attempting to commit suicide. Yeah, you heard me, folks. There's a character in this film that actually attempts to commit suicide. Are you sure this was for kids? Are you sure? Anyway, fast forward a little bit. Yeah, this actually becomes a thing here, folks. The dude ends up breaking his neck and assumes the superhero character who saved his life. So he prevented him from killing himself, and the hero stopped him from doing that. So he's getting sued for that. Again, are you sure this was for kids? I mean, I don't mind having some dark moments in a kids movie. It just came off, a little. I'll get back on that later. I'll get back on that later. But anyway, I guess to fast forward a little bit, I guess you would say. I mean, there's a part where these two characters, Elastigirl and Mr. Incredible, do get married. And of course, he's going to have his best friend right there, I guess his wingman, so to speak, his best buddy around here. But of course, anyway, like I was saying, fast forward some time. Now he's working an ordinary job because superheroes have been outlawed, so to speak. Kind of like they're a bunch of vigilantes, so to speak, in a sense, in the light of the law. So yeah, he's working for this company, and of course he doesn't like it. The 9 to 5 job. Oy. So he's basically forced to, live an ordinary life with his wife and now the kids right there. They have kids, and of course the typical life, and he doesn't like it because it's boring. 9 to 5 job, 9 to 5 job, 9 to 5 job. You got to care of the family, the mortgage, and whatnot. This kinds of issues come into play, of course. And yeah, like I said, he really, really doesn't like it. Obviously, he just despises it in a lot of ways. Yeah, he loves his kids. Sure, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with loving your kids, obviously. But again, this is what his life became after the one incident had occurred I just described a moment ago. So basically, he has nothing else to do, really. He just feels like there's nothing more. There should be more to life. Yeah, no, of course, the kids gonna be fighting each other. They have a baby named Jack, of course. But anyway, a fire accident gets started or whatever, and they had to clean up the house a little bit, of course. And yeah, just a little thing with the little girl here, Violet. Violet, I guess she's coming of age, so to speak, in her teens. But you know, the somewhat younger brother is, you know, he's having some issues and whatnot. But then the main character, he wants all life back. Of course, he wants to do some things and whatnot. And he's thinking about, the past. He's really thinking about the past here. I mean, you can't really blame him, of course, when he was much younger. But suddenly he receives a mysterious message from this woman. Yeah, they talk for a good second. But this has to be a secret, of course. This has to be secretly done, obviously. So, he's be the little sneaky snake, so to speak, obviously. So, don't tell nobody. Don't tell nobody. Of course, he wants to play coy with his wife and doesn't tell her anything, of course. And meets up with the mysterious woman here, of course. And yeah, he's technically lying, which in some ways is kind of manipulative to some degree, I guess you can say. It's a false sense of happiness, is what I'm saying here, folks. Again, are you sure this was intended for kids? Start making me question all stuff here, movie. So anyway, of course, the wife eventually gets suspicious, obviously, because of this whole facade. And this one character, this short woman, yeah, she know what's up. Now she, informs her what's going on, of course. And then eventually, the little kid from earlier becomes this villain. Yep, that's the thing, folks. And as it turned out, this woman, the mysterious woman, is actually working for him, and that's the thing. She doesn't like him very much, of course, because he's an asshole. I guess he's a dickhead. I guess that's a character trait. He's still angry. Obviously, he's still really pissed off, and there was actually a moment in this film where he actually speaks to Mr. Incredible, and things go on and they continue chit chat. The villain actually threatens Mr. Incredible to snap her neck. That's dark. Again, these are for kids, right? Are you serious? These things are on the island trying to kill him off, and then the henchmen are trying to use the guns. And just before he uses the guns, he puts up a shield. Again, are you sure this is for kids? I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't mind dark moments in a kids movie, but it just comes off balance. Really off balance, if you ask me, folks. I mean, sure, those moments like, Snow White, she almost got killed off, sure. There's that one scene over there. And then for Zootopia, there was a subtle way to talk about racism, class discrimination, I guess you can say. And even with Elsa, she gets forcibly imprisoned. And the whole thing with the, mutiny. Then there's the Star Wars The Force Awakens. In regards of a certain scene, folks, in this movie with a not so subtle reference to, Nazism. Yeah. And then this character, the Queen, wants decapitation. Then not only that, Mufel, and even Rapunzel got forced into being, imprisoned at some point. The character was discriminated against just for being a gypsy. So, yeah, there's that thing going on there, folks. So anyway, with those films, it kind of more of a reason to happen. But with The Incredibles, it just feels as if it's imbalanced, so to speak. If you ask me, folks. Yeah, some things are brought up in the movie. It's showing you on screen, but then it's trying to pass it off as something for kids. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about there, folks. Keeps going back and forth, back and forth. Okay, which one do you want to be? So give me a break here. Right, the mother has a nice set of hips, so there's that. So like we're still on other fairies. Yeah. Wait, what? Huh? What was I talking about? Oh yes, the movie. Of course, eventually they all team up together to fight the bad guy, of course, and the film will progress from there, obviously. There's some things I am leaving out, of course, on purpose, because I don't want to spoil too much of the film. I just want to leave with the overall impression, obviously. So the film itself is actually quite good. It's pretty creative in a lot of ways. It's taking the typical cliche tropes of the genre and really attempts to do its own creative spin to it, as an attempt to do something new, which in itself isn't necessarily a bad thing, of course. So I'll say that this one is definitely worth watching. I like the animation; it's very smooth. Even though this came out quite a while ago, the animation itself is still pretty good. I like the overall designs of the characters' suits. Their costumes are pretty cool. I like the fact they work as a family, even if it might be dysfunctional to some degree. So, anyway, this was a solid film. Even though I had my complaints about it, of course, still didn't hate it or anything. So, this film was a movie that I can say that I wouldn't mind watching, I guess, overall, because the voice acting is pretty good. The voice acting is top notch, like you might expect. So I do like the whole idea that there's more superheroes out there, and they have to, of course, team up, of course, to fight the bad guy as well. The bad guy is just pretty much upset at what had occurred in the past, and wants to make sure the heroes look bad, of course. See, they're the villain, not I. Blah 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 blah. So it's basically, in other words, just a smear campaign. That's basically what the villain's doing in this movie. It's just a smear campaign. This film was pretty good, folks. I like the overall film. I will review the sequel, Incredibles 2, later, I guess. But anyway, this film, it'll get an overall rating of a 7.0 out of 10. It gets a 0.7 out of 10 from me. And as always, thanks for watching, and take care. Until next time, oh yeah.